Hey everyone, we're here with Alex from Dead Icarus. If you don't know him, you're missing out. It's a pretty fantastic fucking project that Alex is working on with some other folks, and their new album Zealot comes out November 1st on Monarch Heavy, correct?
Halloween, technically the
Halloween.
31st, but give or take, you know what I mean? It's all right
It's
there.
it's right there. Yeah. I just saw something that said November 1st, so I'm like, that's probably what I was like focused on.
And that when I look in like the back door of Spotify, it tells me the 30th. So I got to call somebody somewhere and be like, hey, when does the record actually come out? Because I'm
Yeah,
telling everybody Halloween. So let's just say Halloween. We'll split the difference. We'll say Halloween.
I think that sounds great. So I listened to the EP, which came out earlier this year at Infernum, and that is pretty fantastic. But listening through Zealot, holy fuck, like it gets super fucking heavy on there.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have access to the whole album or just a couple
Yes.
songs? Or cool. Yeah, no, I think for the EP, for the Ad Infernum EP, that was the first four and only four songs that Gabe and I wrote together for
Okay.
that. And we just got to know each other. And then we wrote songs. So, excuse me. It was we didn't know what we wanted to do. Like we had like verbalized what we wanted to do, but we didn't know how that was gonna quantify into the songs. And then when we started writing for the Zealot record, we kind of knew more of what we wanted to aim for and what we didn't want to aim for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Based on those four songs. And so I think we got relatively close to what Dead Icarus should sound like, and then we threw some curveballs in there and went on some twists and turns. We really wanted to do something that wasn't one dimensional. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
love I love a lot of one dimensional bands, and I don't see it as a negative. Uh, but for me, and for like kind of like the attention deficit disorder music that I kind of like, I like rapid changes of parts, different trying out a lot of different things. I basically mixing all the things that we like about all the different types of metal and hardcore that we enjoy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's black metal, death metal, metalcore, deathcore, melodic metal, Swedish metal, American metal, just kind of spinning all that into what we do. And then it's never going to sound like what you think it's going to sound like in your head. It always sounds like something totally different. And I think the results I'm very happy with it. And that's what my goal of setting out with this band was like, I want to listen to this. I want to make something for myself that I want to listen to over and over again. And for the first time in many, many years, I listen to my own music more than I listen to anything else. I have to
That's
take breaks
awesome.
from it sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good thing as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And it's, I find that um, talking to bands, I find that when they make music that they want to listen to, I enjoy it more. And I think fans enjoy it and connect with it because it seems more authentic from the artist.
Yeah, there's no bullshit. There's no preconceived notion. There's no like, hey, we're gonna try to sound like this, and this is gonna be the single, and this is gonna be the focus track. It's just, ad infernum for the EP, we had no one telling us what to do. We weren't even on a record label. We just recorded it, and then we started working with Monarch after it was recorded. And then for the full length, I think just kind of based on their relationship with Gabe and them knowing me, because Gabe is in Enterprise Earth and Enterprise Earth
Yeah.
was a Monarch band, that we just got to they didn't set any sort of parameters. No A&R guy was calling me like, you should call the song this, or you should have take out this breakdown, or it should sound like a certain way. It was just do what you guys are going to do. Here's the date we need it by. Don't fuck up.
But,
And they didn't even say don't fuck up. They just told us when we needed to be done.
that's awesome. That takes away almost everything, right? Just like here, go at it. Let me know when you're done. It needs to be done by here. Like, oh, okay, we can just kind of do whatever if we want.
Yeah, it changes the external pressure, and then it's just a pressure that you place on yourself to not shit the bed.
Yeah.
um you know what I mean? Which isn't more than enough for someone like me and for someone like Gabe. The pressure that we place on ourselves is more than enough, that we don't need like an outside source, or nor do we need to make music for outside gratification.
Right.
This is like what we wanted to hear and what we wanted to do. And hopefully people like it. And if people don't like it, then you'll see me as a Walmart greeter very soon. You
Hopefully
know?
not. I think a lot of people are going to like it though, because listening through it. So I listened through it once, I don't know, a week or so ago, just to like familiarize myself, and I was just listening through it again, and I feel like, I'm an old guy, like I'm pushing 50 now, and I always look at, uh, I grew up in a time where I feel like more albums came out. It was the whole album was the art, and it wasn't so like single focused.
Yeah.
And I feel like this, Zealot is, as a whole, it's a great piece of art that a lot of people, I think, will really fucking enjoy.
Oh man, thank you. I think we all kind of recognize, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on who you are and your attention span and how old you are, that full albums seem to be fading away a little bit. And a lot of people are favoring like singles and stuff like that, which is ironic because that's how we rolled out the EP Ad Infernum, but that's because we had only 4 songs. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was kind of like a no brainer to roll it out this way. But I think for the way I like to think of Ad Infernum is uh, 11 singles. We wrote like 11 of the most interesting songs that we could, and we put them all together, and that's it. It's not like we spent 6 hours, or we spent a whole bunch of time on 3 or 4 songs, and then the rest of them was like over a weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
um it was a focus to make a uh cohesive record. You know what I mean? It's something which I like to, if I'm working out, I like to put on a full record and listen to it. I don't normally listen to like I don't let the algorithm pick for me on Spotify or on Apple
Right.
Music or whatever.
It doesn't
I
fit
want
the
to
mood.
I want to enjoy the full record. I've been super into Powerwolf lately, and like
Okay.
I don't want to skip out. I want to hear the whole record. You know what I mean? I want
Yeah.
to I want to jam that. That's just like a stupid example, but you know what I mean? Like I don't want to hear.
It, I
Uh,
I don't think it's a stupid example. I think that's exactly it, right? Like I, for whatever, got a wild hair up my ass, was driving somewhere yesterday and was like, ooh, I want to listen to Master of Puppets. So I put on Master of
yeah,
Puppets, front to back. And like, you listen to these albums, and it's like, I, that's why I like full album experiences,
for sure.
because, it takes you through the peaks and the valleys through the whole album. Zealot's got breakdowns, it's got slow parts, it's got fast parts, it's got driving guitars of Zealot, actually, which are just, it keeps it interesting through the entire album.
We wanted to uh we wanted, I don't want to say like dumb, like cliche things, like we wanted to challenge the listener, we wanted to be vulnerable, we wanted to do all this, but like we wanted to and be dynamic and vulnerable and challenge the listener. But like we did, we by challenging ourselves, we're going to challenge the listener, right? Because
Yeah,
we're going to like be like, I love this about this type of music, and I love this aspect of Cradle of Filth, and I love this aspect of Lincoln Park, maybe, I don't know, you know what I mean? And it's how can I incorporate these things together so that they sound cohesive, right? Um, and it's not just a like a monotone record, which again, like I like that. I like a lot of bands that it's just like that's one type of vocal, boom, it's hard hitting the whole way through. You know what I mean? There's no dynamics. It's just at 11 the whole time.
yeah,
I love that shit. And sometimes I love stuff that's at like a 3, you know what I mean? But what I really like the most is the peaks and the valleys, you know what I mean? Because it makes certain parts more impactful, and
absolutely.
more meaningful, and it gives it that like that texture. It's interesting. You're like, oh fuck, like the music's like particular songs are escaping me right now, but there'll be like you listen to a song and there's just like one part of the song where you're like, man, I really want to listen to that part again. And I think like we capture that in at least every song once. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, that was interesting. There's enough interesting parts where it's not just like, all right, it's going to be me like rah 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 rah
Yeah.
rah breakdown. You know what I mean? And that's, that's what we set out to do. So I'm stoked that it's, you perceive it that way, because that was kind of what we wanted.
That's awesome. It's like you were saying, without the, I guess, essentially without the high or without the lows, you don't enjoy the highs, right?
You don't
Like,
feel it the same way. It's still
yeah,
there. Again, like I won't say any bands because I feel like everything gets turned into shit talking. But like there's certain like metal bands where it's like, a certain BPM, the whole song, or there's certain hardcore bands where like what the song is going to sound like before it even hits. And like
yeah,
I like that, you know what I mean? But I like having more unexpected, like, well, what the fuck? Almost like feeling weird about it at first and be like, nah, and I really like that. You know what I mean? I
takes a
think that's what
second to
makes
set
music.
in.
Yeah, it makes music interesting, taking some sort of, I don't want to say risks, but like taking risks. Like I could have done, I'm known to be like, oh, I scream. I screamed in Atreyu, and that's like what I'm known for. And
Yeah,
when we first wrote Ad Infernum, the songs were just, I think like because I do the pre-production on my own from the music that Gabe sent me, the vocal pre-production was all screaming, and then like maybe like a talking part, or I'd rev into a scream, and I was bummed on myself. I was like, this is not hitting right. Like this doesn't feel right to me. So I rewrote like most of those songs, um, until I was happy with them. And it was cool because I could just sit here in this room right here with this computer and this microphone and these, I don't know where they are, the speakers that are right behind me and stuff. And I could go redo a part a million times, and I could try to sing it in all these different voices. And some of them are total misses. Some of them were like, just like, what the fuck? Like I would have to stop for the day because I'd be discouraged. I'd be like, man, that's not the one. And it allowed me to discover like what I like and like what my vocal capabilities were truly. Because in Atreyu, like I'll be honest, I wasn't really practicing the singing parts. I think most people could figure that out. I didn't. It wasn't my thing. I appreciated what Brandon did. He's an extremely strong vocalist, and it's like you've got this dude over here who's like a 10, 9 or a 10, 8 to a 8. I don't want to stroke anybody's egos, but it's like an 8, 9 or 10 in vocal power of that type of singing.
yeah,
And I'm like a solid 4 to a 6 without practice. It's like, why am I gonna sing too? My strength is screaming, and we lose the dynamics too. If we're both singing, that means there's less screaming. That means there's less vocal dynamicness. I don't fucking know. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And so it was like, and so with this, I knew I would need to practice a bunch, and luckily I had a bunch of time and nowhere to go. When Atreyu and I parted ways, it was at the start of the pandemic. So I mean, I just sat here and sang along to different things I liked, everything from like Metallica, because I like James's fucking, how James sounds is awesome. I try to emulate, honestly, I try to emulate like him in a lot of the more like false chord, forceful, like throaty singing parts. I don't sound anything like him, but I like doing that. And so I
to
got
get
to
the
like
style.
practice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like to practice and try out all these different things, and I could see what worked for the songs in my mind at least, and what didn't. And then, I kind of gave up on, well, what if people don't like it? Like, what are people going to say? Like, I know there's people who aren't going to like it. Like, there's people who aren't going to like it no matter what it is.
sure.
So it's like, well, am I making music for people who don't like it? Or am I making music that like I like? And so I kind of like, I had that kind of aha, not the band, but like the moment where I was like, oh, dude, like I don't know why it clicked in me one day, but I was like, Dad, I'm making this for myself. So if I like what this sounds like right here, then I'm going to work at my best to make that part sound good. And that's going to be the part. And if people don't like that part, they can skip it, or they can not listen to it, or they can say bad things about me on the internet, or they could say good things about me on the internet. And that part's still going to be there, and I'm still going to enjoy it. And I think a lot of that comes with, I'm being older. You know what I mean? Like I'm in my 40s, I'm pushing mid 40s. Like
Yeah,
I don't care. Like I'm not here to try to be like the cool, like doing like I can't do that. I just do what feels natural. And this record, everything ended up feeling very natural. It was hard at first, and it still is challenging. You know what I mean? But that's why we practice. That's why we work at things. And man, it's a cool journey.
Yeah, that's really cool what you just took us through, because that was like, I think that's what a lot of people, as they get older, they go through. It gets to a point where they're like, oh, hold on, like I don't need to do anything for anyone else other than myself, you know?
Yeah, I mean, with Atreyu, like I've got like I think I got two gold albums. I have two gold singles. I We've been on like the Billboard Top 200 back when you actually had to sell like a shitload of CDs, um, several times. We've all every album that I sang on in the band was in the Billboard Top 200. I toured basically the whole world. Like, what what do I need to like try to prove to myself or to prove to people like, look how valid I am, look what I can do? It's like, no, like this is a different journey.
Yeah.
This is a whole different thing. And it's like, what can I do to feel the most fulfilled inside now, instead of like this external validation? Like, here's a gold record, here's a number on a chart somewhere, and that shit's important, right, in the business, I guess. But and it's nice to be recognized for the things that you do. But now it's just about like, what do I need to get out of my soul before I can't do this anymore? I feel like the clock's ticking. I've said this, recently before, but like I don't want to play music anymore. I don't, but I can't stop.
Yeah.
And I feel good about the addiction. I feel good about how it makes me feel. And obviously, I guess like some part of me does, or I just wouldn't do it. But I wish I could quit. I wish I could not give a fuck. I wish I could not need this. I wish I wasn't having songs come into my head that I needed to get out. I wish I didn't have these emotions that I can only quantify through sound and through playing music. I wish I didn't. My life would be so much simpler. I got 3 kids, I got a mortgage, I got a wife, I got bills, I got all these things. And Dead Icarus right now is in the formative stages. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
it's an investment. It's not cashing in. But I can't stop. And it's a weird feeling, and it just feels honest to me. And I haven't felt honest. Again, this is just me. I haven't felt honest about the music that I've made in like 10 years.
Wow.
Um, you get you get in a band, and it starts and everything's kind of like one way, and it's organic. And then once that thing really starts to generate revenue, yeah, other people get involved who want to make money off it. Their livelihoods are tied into it. And it just changes the dynamic, and that changes for me as the cut. Not saying the other guys in Atreyu aren't artists, but I'm a cut off my ear type artist, not cut off my nose, like the Picasso type, like not
It could be
not
cut
saying
off your
I'm
nose.
cut off my nose to spite my face type feel.
Yeah,
But you know what I mean? It's a big nose too. It gets cut off easily.
mine too.
Like, yeah, right. It's like I I'm that type of, whether it's nihilistic, I don't know what it is. Like, I need to create, and I need to do it in a certain way that feels right to me. And it hasn't felt this right in so long. And it's re-energized how I feel about music. I stopped listening to new and old bands, well before I exited Atreyu. I just didn't Music was not exciting to me. I just was over it. It wasn't a good feeling, and now um I'm super into it again. I love checking out new bands. You know what I mean? I go to
Yeah.
shows when I can. Having 3 kids is hard to get out sometimes at night, but man, like I'm stoked. I love music again, whether it's like, metal or country or whatever it was got my ear that day. I'm just excited about it. What music does for people is amazing, and the outlet that it gives for the artist and then the listener, and the connection that we all share through it is something unique that hopefully we won't let get fucked up with like AI and stuff like that. That will just, you know what I mean? That's a whole nother
Yeah.
wormhole
That
for me to go down. But
that is a whole other, because I'm with you, right? Like I'm the connection that I feel that music brings to people, especially in a live setting. Like you go in there and nothing matters. Everyone's
yeah,
there to enjoy the band that's on stage. It doesn't, your color, your religion, where you're from, none of that shit matters. In
it
my mind, it's the
yeah,
ultimate connector.
it doesn't matter if you're for Harris or for Trump or for anything. You're there because you love this music, and it speaks to everybody in that room in the same way. And I think that's what makes music great, right? Is you're hearing the music of myself or whatever band that likes, and it speaks to you. You go, oh, fuck yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I feel. But how could that person feel how you feel? And that's what's so cool about this. And a machine replicating that to me is, it's not for me. I'm old or whatever, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. Like, that's not for me. Like, that's not what art is. That's not art.
Not at all.
It might be music, but it's not art. And I want that artistic connection. Um, I'm not saying it doesn't have its purposes, maybe somewhere for some things, but for me, I want that human experience. I want to connect with the singer and what they're doing, and the music and the sound is a feeling itself. If you took the vocals and you took the lyrics out of it and you just listen to the music, what does it make you feel? And that's the feeling that the people who composed it, that's what they put into it, was to make that feeling. And I think that's what's special about music, and that's what draws me to it. And that's, like, again, like one of those reasons why, like, despite my best efforts to not want to, I still want to make music. Is because, like, I need to create that. I need to quantify those emotions and put them into sound and have other people hear them and go, that's what I'm talking about, brother. And I go, no, I feel the same way too. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's the great unifier to me.
It is.
I saw some,
100%.
I saw some dude online talking the other day about how, like, sports teams and music are a distraction for us, and, like, they distract us from life or something like that. I took fucking offense.
Yeah.
Because maybe like becoming super obsessed with sports where you're just spectating is maybe not the most healthy. Like going to like a football game and fighting the other team's fans, that's not healthy. That's not a good thing.
No.
But the escape for a temporary time period from your worries and your woes, and to connect with people and to feel part of a team, that is a positive thing. And to lump music in with that is fucking crazy to me. Without music, I mean, music's been around, as soon as we could form, before we could form words, people were hitting on drums and rocks together and making sounds, you know what I mean? And spiritualizing their feelings, and I think that's, dude, it's inside of us. It's such a natural, needed thing. And I'm stuck,
Well,
I'm hooked.
like, it's so crazy to think about, like, because you're right. To me, it is the ultimate connection. And I think part of that is one of the things that everyone, or that everything has in common, is like math, right? Math is in there, and music is essentially math.
Yeah.
So, like, it's like, oh shit, you don't need anything to really connect, like a heavy guitar or a light guitar or whatever you connect with, like, and vocals, right? Done right, clean vocals, and screaming and growls, and all of that done right. It takes the listener from whatever's going on in their life to another world, and everything goes away.
Yeah. Brings us together, it's a powerful thing. It's why, like I said, why I have not been able to step away.
Yeah. I mean, that's good for us. We get more music out of the deal. So thank you for that.
I'm trying.
So walk me through, like your thought process with writing Zealot.
Basically, like, on the nuts and bolts end of it, Gabe is in a small town in Colorado, and I live here in Southern California, in a city called Corona. And Brandon lives in La Habra. Brandon lives like 40 minutes away from me or something. Who Brandon plays drums on the record. He was formerly in Enterprise Earth. He's currently in Whitechapel. And so Gabe will send me a demo of, basically, like, it'll be like a riff, or a riff, 1, 2 to 3 of these items I'm about to mention: a riff, a verse, and a chorus. And I kind of like hear that, and I'm like, okay, I like that. You know what I mean? That's sick. I've never had a problem with anything he sent me. Um, and so he sends me that, and I go, okay, cool. Like, make a full song, and then he fills out the rest of it. And in that time frame, I'm kind of vibing the part that he sent me, and I'll start my vocal pre-production of, like, I'll start writing for those parts of the songs. I kind of tend to, based on how I don't want to say I was taught, but how I assimilated the writing process in Atreyu is like I usually start from the chorus if I can, and I write like whatever the chorus is going to be, unless I have like a super solid verse idea right away. So basically, whichever solid idea comes to me first, the verse or the chorus, I just kind of write from there. Um, so I write those two parts. I send them back to Gabe, or he sends me the rest of the song, and then I send him these parts back and go, "What do you think of this?" And he goes, "Okay, yeah, that sounds cool. That'll work." You know, or that's terrible. He hasn't really shit on anything that I've given him too far. We have a pretty good dynamic about things. We don't want to send something to the other person that sounds bad anyway. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of get my idea for what I'm going to do. And then I do that over the rest of his whatever he sent me. Like he sends me the full song. I do all the vocals of it before we record it. Like I like having it done in advance. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do when we record, double check it again, make sure you're stoked on it. If you hear ideas for like, harmonies here and there, or, doubled vocal parts, or something I should add in or something I should take out, boom, hit me with it. Uh, and then, we meet up. He's come out for me for the EP and for the full length. He flies out here. He stays with me for a week or two, and we do vocals all day, every day, until it's done. And it's rad. You know what I mean? It's nice for me because I in this very room that I'm sitting right here talking to you in. That's where we do vocals. We don't need some big fancy studio. This is not a $13,000 microphone. This is the microphone I recorded the album with. You
Yeah.
know, and we go for it. And it's great. You know what I mean? We get what we need done. We get like my ideas out. And then if there's stuff that he's going to throw in on top of it, if he's like, hey, you need a melody, or we need this, or like, that's not the right note, Alex, we take care of all that. And then like lyrically for me, Zealot in particular, like I didn't realize it, but it's almost I don't like theme records, but it's almost just like a theme record about fanatical devotion to your beliefs, because that's what a zealot is. I think
Yeah.
it's technically with like a religious connotation, but this is almost in a way like having a fanatical religious like belief in what you do, to where like people, like I'm just using this as an example, where if someone was like, no, Jesus isn't real, God's not real, they're like, no, he is, and I believe it, and I'll go to war for it, which is actually kind of how it works, right? uh
Yeah.
so so I want that is the feeling I have about this music. Whereas like even if someone was like, this fucking sucks, like this is terrible, what are you doing, I'd be like, I fucking love this, I don't care what you have to say, it doesn't really matter at all. Don't listen to it. i'll
Right.
i'll still i'll still like it.
And
You
I'm
know what I
still
mean?
going to war for it every fucking day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so this is what I believe in, and this is what I do. And so a lot of the songs share some sort of feeling or vibe with that. There's some variants here and there. Excuse me, there's a single that comes out on the 16th called 1 Million Days. And 1 Million Days is at first, when I wrote it, I thought it was about wronging people and needing to suffer and being forgiven for that. And then it's realizing like, I the more I like thought about what I had written, it's about me forgiving myself for the mistakes and the burdens and the weight that I carry, and setting myself kind of free of that. Because I think the hardest thing for a lot of people to do is to like admit fault and then forgive themselves for the fault. Because even if you could admit it, like then you still carry these scars and these burdens. And so like, that song maybe lyrically is a little different from the Zealot theme, but the music itself and the vibe of everything is very much like that fanatical belief in oneself and the devotion to your cause. You know what I mean? and
Yeah.
and
That's kind of crazy because we like you zealot. I could still see 1 million days as having that zealot thing, but maybe at the end, like you're a zealot your whole life, and at the end you're like, oh shit,
Yeah,
I
for
need
sure.
to,
I mean,
you
it's
know,
weird how it all kind of un unwittingly to me carried together, but I wrote everything within the same time frame. You know what I mean? Like it was just when we start writing and stuff, This record went pretty fast, but like I would say like I wrote my vocals and vocal parts maybe within like two weeks. It'd take me maybe a day or two on each song. I spent way more time on the EP because I didn't know what I was doing or what I was gonna do. And I hadn't seen like the path in the darkness, I like to call it.
Yeah.
And now like the path is kind of like it's not more defined, but I kind of know like where I'm gonna go. You know what I mean? Or what I might do with the music and with the songs. So yeah, it was super fun. So that's like the basic process of what we do. It's not too complicated. I think we got the whole thing was written and recorded in like 2 months or something like that. It was
That,
relatively quick.
that's pretty fucking quick. I mean,
Yeah, we don't fuck around.
no,
There's no need
apparently.
to. There's not a lot of fat. There's not a, and I say this respectfully for bands who want to hear every fucking band member's idea about every note in every song and give everyone input into everything. That's great for a lot of people. We don't have that. We don't even have that here. It's just me and Gabe.
Right.
Brandon does his drums, and Brandon, like, in my opinion, Brandon shits gold every time he touches the drums. So like I don't have maybe Gabe musically has things to say to him sometimes, but like I never have anything to say about what Brandon comes up with for the drums. It's like, dude, like you're walking on water over there, brother. Like just do your thing, man. And that's part of this project too. Like with Gabe, when we first started writing and when we got to this record, he's like, dude, are we gonna do like solos and stuff like that? And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, like go for it. Like do what feels natural for you. We don't want to be like a tech band, like a
Right.
tech metal or deathcore band like that. Like that's Enterprise Earth's territory. And like I respect that. And I don't even like technically listen to a lot of that. So I don't want to veer too much into that world. But I was like, dude, just do what feels natural for the song and for you. And that's going to be the right thing. And that's why it's been very easy. Like he sends me stuff and it just feels right to me. Like I never have to, maybe I'm like, let's repeat that part one more time. Like it's never anything where I'm like, dude, this is bad. We're gonna have to redo this whole part, And I feel kind of the same thing coming from him. One thing when I looked back at Infernum, I was like, dude, I sing in like 80% of the song time. I'm singing. Like there's not a whole lot of like breathable moments. And on Zealot, I purposely tried to make that happen and I still couldn't. So I would even tell him parts. I would be like, hey, like, what if we just took this vocal part out here? And he's like, no, it sounds good. Like, we're going to leave it. It's a cool part. It's too cool. We can't take it out. And so that's fun. It's a lot of work live, but, you know, we have a very easy dynamic with everything. There's
What a
no,
like
I
a
don't want to
really
say
cool working relationship, it seems,
there's,
that it's like a mutual respect. Like, hold on,
yeah,
that really is fucking good, and I appreciate that. Like, keep
there's
it.
no ego. There's no like,
Yeah.
well, this is the part because I said it's going to be the part. There's none of that. It's like, there's a vibe, right? And he's like, yeah, that's a vibe. That's cool. That totally works, and vice versa. So that's is super fun. And then, like I said, again, with Brandon, like, dude just shreds. I don't know how familiar you are with his drumming, but in Dead Icarus and the Enterprise Earth records he's on and the way he plays in Chapel and stuff is, he's
Yeah.
nuts. He's not
That
your
new
typical,
Whitechapel is fucking,
he's
God,
not
it
your
sounds
typical
so good.
drummer.
No.
Yeah, he's insane. So we're super, it's pretty it's a laid back day at the office for most of us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
Go
feeling
in and
good.
have fun with it. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was the whole part. I will say it just so it's acknowledged that Gabe was super sick when he came out here to record my vocals, and he handled it all like a champ, but like he might have been shitting blood. And just like I don't know if he wants me to say that, but I say it as testament to his character of like, and he still, we made it through everything we would have to every day. And then he would go lay down and die. And then he would get up and we do it again. You know what I mean? I shed a little bit of blood too, but that's because for different reasons. And it was, this is real too. I'm not like
We
saying
should
this to be
totally.
funny.
It shouldn't have been called Zealot. It should have been called the record that made us all shit blood.
Shitting blood. Go.
Oh,
But you know even with that, the vibe was so good and it felt right that we were doing. It like energizes you to get through you know these other things, and especially for him, man, it was gnarly. Like he was turning different colors. uh you know I was worried. I was worried for a little bit there, but he pulled it off, and we got a great sounding and feeling album out of it,
yeah,
and some fun memories.
it's a testament to the project though, or to the dedication you all have to the project is like when you it's like getting up and going to work. Like some days you just don't want to go do it, but you
Yeah.
you get up when you're sick and you grind to make it happen. And I think the end product is, I'll say it again. I think it's a fucking fantastic album from start to finish.
Thank you. That was, you know, that that's what we wanted. And I think when the vibe is there, uh, everything kind of takes care of itself. And the vibe was so good and so good when we're together doing stuff that it's very easy to just rock and roll.
Yeah,
We just came up, we were out for a month with Nekrogoblikon and Enterprise Earth. And for the sake of this tour, uh the bass player Coda, the drummer Aaron from Enterprise Earth, and then of course Gabe plays in both bands. They filled in for us, so they played 2 sets every night. Coda and Travis, the singer of Enterprise Earth, would drive the RV at night because we were on our all in RV together. Gabe and I would drive in the morning. Aaron, the drummer, was super sick for like 2.5 weeks, like gnarly fever, joint aches. He was just sleeping and trying not to die, um, which was scary too. Uh, and the vibe was so good. You know what I mean? The shows were fun. Everything was rad. You know what I mean? But you're pushing gear. They're playing 2 sets. I'm slinging merch. Travis is helping me sling merch. He's selling merch for Enterprise Earth. We all push gear together. We all load in and load out together. Um, you know, we drive and we're sleeping like 3 4 hours a night. We're in an RV, and RV is nice when it's not moving, but when it's moving, it's a box truck. Yeah, so I'm wedging pillows and sweatshirts underneath my hips to keep me from bouncing around. And it's not saying anything about the dudes driving. It's just like that's the suspension on an RV. It's
yeah,
not ideal to sleep in when it's moving. And somehow on 3 to 4 hours sleep, a lot of physical activity. I mean, we would wake up and go to Planet Fitness and shower and stuff, 4 or 5 days a week on top of it. So there's and play our sets, and they're playing 2 sets. So there's a big physical output. And it would have been a brewing pot for some fucking sad sacks. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm
yeah,
tired. Oh, no, no. And man, I can't, I think I can speak for everybody as we had a pretty damn good time. You know what I mean? The Necro and their crew are fun, good dudes. Obviously, we're not in an RV with them every day.
right.
Um, but like we're together in the RV, cracking jokes, farting, doing all sorts of like
Doing guy shit. Yeah,
juvenile guy shit. I don't want to even be sexist. But I hope that women's feet smell better than our feet smelled at the end of this tour. We had the closet in the RV. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but it's fun. We had a shoe rack in the closet for everybody's like shoes. And at the beginning of the tour, it was nice because we all like obeyed it and we put our shoes in there. Dude, after like 2 days, you open that door and it was like getting hit in the face. We're like, oh my God.
yeah,
Oh, shut the door. God damn it. And then we also like I think we had a fractured black water line that had a crack in it under the RV. So like there was a piss anytime after we emptied the tank within 48 hours, there was just a piss smell following us everywhere we went. And it was just funny. Like we was just like, dude, what are you gonna do at this point? You know what I mean? Besides have a good time and bullshit. And I think that's what we did. And it was a great vibe. So I guess my point is like whether it's recording or whether it's ever, if the vibe is there and everyone's feeling good, it makes even situations that are it's like, man, we're exhausted. It smells like piss. You know what I mean? You can look at it that way. You're like, yeah, we're exhausted and it smells like piss. Let's go get some coffees. You know
let's
what I
do
mean? And
something. Yeah.
yeah, you're
Well, and
either
I
having a
think a lot of that is the relationship with the people also, right?
yeah, for
Because
sure.
if you're out, I mean, from your years of tour, and if you're out there and there's like stress between a couple of people, it makes the whole fucking vibe goes away, and you're just
Oh,
like, oh, this sucks.
it completely changes everything. And I think all of us had you know, a good rapport. I was the new guy technically with them, because they've all toured together. The sound guy Adam has toured with them before. So audio engineer, I mean the audio engineer Adam. It's the term of respect. And so I tried to like assimilate to the crew as best as I could. I never wanted to be the weakest link. I'm a decade older than Gabe, who's older than most of the guys. So I never wanted to be like the old dude. I mean, I did fall asleep sometimes, but
They're
you
like, oh,
know,
he broke his hip. It's okay. You're out there
yeah,
like,
no, luckily my hips are still strong. No falls down the stairs. There's a lot of stairs on this tour for loading in and loading out. As I get that
yeah,
far, far away look in my eye. The last show we roll up to and we go in there and I was like, fucking stairs. So we ended the tour with stairs too, which is fun. Like if you've ever pushed gear, you know what I'm talking about.
yeah,
It's like, God damn it. Like, why are there stairs in this venue? But you know, if you approach it with a certain mindset, and a strong back, it's awesome.
yeah. I mean, it just is what it. There's no getting around it. They're there. Let's
The
get to
gear's
it.
got to get in, boys. The gear's got to get in somehow.
Yeah, you guys played Manchester Music Hall a few weeks ago,
Yes. Yeah. It was a super fun show.
was it?
Yeah.
I'm in Louisville, about an hour and a half away.
That's Lexington, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No, man, it was awesome. It's all a blur too, because we rehearsed for 2 days and then it was 6 shows on, then we had one day off, then we had 7 shows on, then we had one day off, and then there was like 4 shows and we had a day off and there was like 2 shows and we were done. And all the days off were like 12 to 14-hour drive days, so they weren't exactly like, it wasn't like days off like, ooh, let's go to the water park, you know
yeah,
what I mean? But yeah, so it's kind of a blur, like remembering it now. But yeah, Manchester was super fun. It's a nice big room. Um, it was good. It was good times.
yeah. That place, I don't go to a lot of shows there, but I feel like every show I go to there is always really good.
Yeah, it
The
was
only thing,
great.
the only thing I don't like is that if you're not in the middle, you got to deal with those damn poles to see the band. You're like, ah, son of a,
I was off to the side selling merch, so I definitely know what you're
yeah,
talking about. I'm off to the side there, but I heard I got to see the show the next night, and I saw it for the a dozen previous nights before,
yeah,
so I was familiar with what was going on.
right on. Well, that's cool. So, what was that like for you taking it out on the road with Enterprise Earth? Like overall, it sounds like it was a really good experience.
Oh, it was awesome. You know, super fun. Like I said, like we all get along. Um, we have similar juvenile senses of humor. Maybe it's not juvenile, but I feel like we're like, it's just like cracking jokes. It's the equivalent of like when dudes backstage are drawing penises on everything. I don't know if you've ever seen that backstage.
Yep.
It's just kind of like that, like just silliness. Like no one's like super serious about stuff. Uh, everybody's got each other's back. We help each other. Uh, like let's say we had 12 merch between us and Enterprise Earth. Let's say we have 12 big ass merch bins. Like that's the first thing to get unloaded. And it's not like they took those 12 bins and just set them down on the side and let Travis and me carry them in. Like they help us get those bins in the venue. And then like we come back out and we help get all the cabinets and all the gear and everything else into the venue. So it's just cool being a part of that brotherhood again. You know what I mean? I like those guys a lot. I respect them. I respect what they do. Um, it's fun to see him play every night. Travis is a great frontman, and their music is ungodly. I guess you could say, like it's super super intense, and there's a lot going on, shredding solos. So it was awesome time.
Hell yeah. But that teamwork, I think that teamwork also helps keep the like the positive like mentality through the whole tour when everyone's like, okay, time to unload. Okay, time to load up, and everyone goes together.
Exactly, and I didn't, like I said, like I didn't want to be the weakest link, and I think nobody wanted to be the weakest link. Like everybody wants to make sure, excuse me, that they're pulling their weight. You know what I mean? And that makes the load in quicker too, because everybody's doing something. You know what I mean? It's not like me and Travis. Stereotypically, the singers are not. We're known to be fucking off when the heavy lifting happens. You can't find the singer, and like we were both there. You know what I mean? And it's just having two more bodies. Everybody's working together. Like it really it makes it go faster too. So it's less work overall for everybody. Whereas if
Yeah.
it's like Gabe unloading and carrying it everything by himself, like that's going to get old real fast.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to cause a lot of animosity, which,
Yeah, he could do it too. He's got some upper body strength that I was not ready for, man. When I would hand him in like with the dummy cabinet or the yeah, I'd hand him in like the real cabinets, the heavy ones, and he just fucking yoked that shit in there. I was jealous, man. I go to the gym a lot. I'm not moving a cabinet like that.
You're like, I still need help with that shit. Come on.
Yes, steroids.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get my preload steroids. Hold on, boys. You just shoot a little real fast. Give me 5 seconds. It's gonna be worth it.
5 seconds, quick shot in my ass. We're good to go.
I need someone else to do the shot though.
That's funny. That's hilarious. Um, so what kind of physical copies are you going to have with Zealot?
So right now we have two like vinyl. Well, okay, it's going to be on CD, obviously, but then we have some special like limited edition vinyl on deadicarus.net. We have our own limited vinyl that's called like Fountains of Death Splatter or something like that. And it's super cool. Like we picked all the colors, you know what I mean? I obsessed about that. There was certain ones I exactly wanted. So that one we're only making, I think, 100 of. I think we're only
Okay.
doing 100, and that's on the deadicarus.net. And then Monarch has a limited run of, I think it's called Varkatzas splatter, a clever shitty plan. My last name Varkatzas, which looks like splattered hot sauce on some on that clear Coke colored vinyl. I act like I don't know, but I know what it's called. Um, and I don't know how many of those they're making. I think more than 100, but not a ton. Like we're not a huge band, and we want the limited vinyl to be special, so it's
Yeah.
not going to be in a huge run. And then there's a final one that'll be available only at like retail stores, like record shops and stuff like that. Gabe's last name is Mangold, so we have the Mangold variant, which is like a golden yellow splatter with the crazy other splatters in it. I don't know what they call that one, but that's the
Okay.
Mangold splatter. I was like, oh hey, by the way, we're naming the vinyl after yours and my last names. Surprise. Um, before he had to say there, I jumped the gun.
It's like,
Um,
I gotcha,
yeah.
motherfucker.
So yeah, I thought it was funny. He laughed. I don't know if he thought it was as funny as I did. Um, so we've got those, and then we have CDs. I think the record label's the one selling CDs for now. When we go on tour again, we'll have CDs with us, but it's just easier to go to like one place to get them than to have the CDs all over the place.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's what we got so far.
No, you guys aren't doing tapes. That seems to be the big like
Is that the thing, right? I don't even know where
that.
you can get it. That's crazy. It's like it takes like effort to get a tape player.
Yeah.
I think I've got one somewhere. No tapes for now. It might be
Okay.
cool to do in the future. Maybe we'll do a limited run. If can you do like different colored cassettes?
They used to be able to do them. Remember, they used to
Remember
have like
back
the
in the
black
day?
one and the clear one and red
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah. No, if we could do weird colored ones, I might be into that. I'm a sucker for anything limited. Even if I don't want it, I'm like, this is limited edition. Fuck, like I need to get myself at
Uh,
least three.
well, that's my issue with vinyl. My wife's like, we were talking yesterday, and she's like, "Oh, our nephew wants this record," and I'm like, "Oh, I got like three or four of those," and she's like, "What the fuck do you have so many for?"
You
I'm
know?
like, "They're all different." Like,
Yeah, exactly. They are.
yeah,
And that's what needs to be respected.
yeah, respect that shit.
Respect my vinyl collection.
That's funny. That's awesome. Well, now I need to go buy fucking three Dead Icarus vinyls. What the hell is wrong with me?
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah. What do you have any like goals or thresholds that you'd like to meet with the release of Zealot?
Man, I feel like to a degree because of how the internet works, and like I don't have like 6 million followers on Instagram, and the band doesn't really. I just want as many people as I can to hear this project, and I don't know, like you know, love it or hate it, you know, throw out your preconceived notions of me based on the band that I was in before, um, and any sort of silly comments that I've made in the media in the past, and just like check out what we do. And if you like it, like, dude, that's awesome. Like it, enjoy it. And if you don't like it, go shit talk me on the internet. Like, I'm still going to be doing the same thing regardless. But I want to expose this band to as many people as I can, because that's my journey. You know what I mean? That's why I can't
Yeah.
quit. I want to get it out there.
Hell yeah.
But as far as
Well,
like numbers and stuff like that, I don't know. 1 million records.
$100 million. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. Well, what are your next plans for going out on the road?
I think we're still shaping stuff up for 2025. We got a couple things in the works. But I let the brains who handle that. And when they tell me it's time to talk about it, or I can let things out, then I will. But right now we're still tweaking those.
Okay. Well, hopefully next run you come through Louisville, because there are some killer venues here. And I think you'd be really well received in our local market.
Dude, I'd love to. It's been a super long time. I remember playing there, in early Atreyu in the van days, and the shows were awesome. So
Yeah. Yeah. Probably had a lot of the same clubs back then.
the place I remember had like a false ceiling, and I remember people were like jumping up and kicking out the false ceiling, and I think we all got in trouble for
Shit, I think there was a couple of those places. One of the
that.
I gotta think. I think Uncle Pleasant's had a false ceiling, and we used to beat the shit out of that one.
Yeah,
Um,
if it was over 15 years ago, it
yeah,
would have been between 15 and 20 years ago. If that
yep,
place was in existence, it sounds right.
it was.
I remember
Yeah.
it was something in a strip mall, and then kicking out the ceiling.
Oh, maybe Tooligans.
I don't know.
I don't know. It was probably about that time though. So I've only been here. Uh, well, this time I've been here like 13 years, 14 years, but
Okay.
it, I was, in the early 2000s, I was here for a few years too.
Yeah, that's what it would have been. It would have been early 2000s, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that was a fun time.
It
Well,
was
yeah,
to date
God,
ourselves a little bit.
to be young again, right?
Where's the vampire? Need to get bit by that vampire as soon
I
as
need
possible.
I need to suck some blood and be young again.
Exactly.
Oh shit. Well, Alex, I know you've got a lot to do. I greatly appreciate you taking time out to come and chat with me about Dead Icarus and Zealot. I look forward to the release. I will be, of course, pre-ordering the fucking record because now I have to. Um, and I look forward to getting that and listen to that on my record player.
Awesome, man. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me about all this. Let me do a little rambling. I appreciate it greatly.
Absolutely, my friend. Have a great night.
You do the same. Take it easy,
Thank you.
brother.
See ya.